Hey everybody, how's it going? BearNPC here, ready for my Wednesday stream. Going to be talking some LARP stuff. Give me 1 second to get my music set up because it got all goofed up and it is super loud in my ears. So let's see what we can do about this. Hopefully it's playing a little bit over the stream. Yeah, that should be good. Hope everybody's having a great Wednesday. It's been a interesting week for sure. Please feel free. Let me know if my volume levels are a little bit off, whether I'm a little too loud, a little too quiet. Whatever needs to change, I can hopefully change it. This is my temporary streaming setup until I get my streaming room here fixed up. But we're going to be talking LARP stuff today. I'm super excited. I've been working on this for quite a while. No, I am not sponsored by Dairy Queen, but I have Oreo Blizzard here, so I'm going to be taking bites every once in a while. I apologize in advance. But anyway, yeah, I've been working on this LARP for a long time. Me and the guys used to run a national-based LARP chapter, which will remain nameless, even though lots of people know what it is. And we have since quit running that because of the ownership. Not necessarily because of the game, but the owner of the game kind of did a bunch of things that we didn't necessarily agree with either. No ill will towards the game itself or the people playing. But in the time that we haven't been playing that, played a couple different other LARPs. Really interested in some of the changes that were going on in the LARP scene. But I've always been a game runner, and I've tried to work with other game runners and whatnot, and haven't really found a game that worked for me, and didn't really find anything that really fit. And there are some people I didn't want to work with from previous experience, so I decided to write my own. And I'm at the point where I have 42 pages worth of rules, and that's all I want. I want to build out on other aspects of the game, but rules wise, this is where I want to stay. I want to keep it small, to the point, and all the fluff that you normally find in rule books, those are going to be YouTube videos. So hopefully people will come and hang out and check out what's going on. But let's just jump into it. On Facebook today, I had said about doing a couple things, so let me make sure that we go over everything. First and foremost, I had a couple ideas on the magic system that might be changed up from version 0.9. Just a couple things. And then after we go over some of the magic system, material components, and enchanting, those kind of changes. I also want to go over our 4 basic module setups, how we're going to get people interested in the plot and the story of the game, and ways that we can attract players of different mindsets. That's what that section's going to be on. And then I'm going to be working on the random roll charts for the gathering and the surgery lists. Now, they're not going to be set in stone yet. I had one written out, but I decided we got these really cool. Let's see if I'm going to go ahead and pull up the this overlay here. It has some of the art that we've got for the game going over here. If there's anything anybody wants answers on, feel free and ask away. But I have these 4 logos that were made for Crestfallen for me by my artist. And I decided it might be a cool idea if in our advertising for whatever event, we used one of these 4 logos to show the danger level of the event that you might be attending. That way, one thing that I really like about it is we can warn people that get upset by certain violent things that may be triggers for people personally. We can warn them ahead of time via whichever logo we use, as long as it is well established and people know what's going on. But not only that, but the gathering chart and the surgery chart might change based off of the danger level of the event. So I definitely want to have that be a staple for the game. So, oops. Sorry, I have a lot of windows open. But let's get into the magic stuff. Magic. Magic is normally one of the most powerful things in any LARP, and I'm trying to build up a few different aspects. I want there to be more role play involved in the developing of spells, because that's really cool. If you think about early Dungeons and Dragons, all the named spells, Bigby's hand, Tasha's hideous laugh, all those named Melf's acid arrow, those were all players in early game. That's super cool. Who doesn't want to have a spell named after them? I think it's a neat thing. Not everybody is going to want, be that grandiose about it, but there are lots of wizards in literature and movies and whatnot that want that kind of renown. So I like the fact that our magic system is going to be open for people to make their own spells, make their own incants, that kind of thing. If we find out that it's too difficult to manage, we can change it. Because, this is a first draft. But let's go ahead. Let's take a look at the skills necessary for magic, shall we? And if anybody has any questions, anything at all, whether it's about the LARP in general or it's specific aspects of it, feel free to ask. It's good testing for me, making sure that I still know what the heck's going on with it. So, magic in general is going to be based in our... We basically have combat categories, lineage categories, and then all of the other skill-based categories. So magic combat, we're going with energy. Energy is what you use to cast spells. Its cost is its cost is based off of how many energy points you have purchased previous. It's exponential. So very much like our stamina, which fuels most of the skills, and our hit points, which is body. Whenever you buy your second one, it costs more. Whenever you buy your third one, it costs more. The only difference is you start with body and you start with stamina. You don't start with any innate magical energy unless you are of a particular lineage. So getting spell points is expensive, and it takes a lot of time. But that's because you can do really cool stuff. And we don't have a lot of spell protectives in the game. There's actually only one currently. And it is something that I believe the enchanting crafting skill can do. But we'll go over that in a little bit. So yeah, whenever it comes to magical combat, we have energy, which those are all of your spells. One-handed weapon, ranged weapon, specialization. These three skills are the most important whenever it comes to actual combat and or healing, because your specialization is essentially like your cantrips from 5e. Whenever you buy your base specialization, you can deal 1 point of damage / healing. You have to choose whenever you take your specialization. Every time you incant the incant for the spell. But it doesn't cost any energy, so you can do it in an unlimited number of times. But it only does 1 point. Not a whole lot, but in the national base game that we used to play, there was like a magic storm effect. It's basically that, but with little pings rather than, anything major. Whenever you buy augmentation, that goes up to 2 points. Whenever you buy mastery, that goes up to 3 points. But that's the highest you can get. So you can heal people with your specialization. You're going to be doing tongue twisters the entire time. And during the middle of a fight, that might be super useful and super worthwhile. But in our national-based game that we used to play, you used to be able to do 10 points of healing almost instantaneously. The call was 10 elemental healing. And whenever you were a very good healer, you could say that really fast. And 10 points, if an enemy's hitting you for 5s, that's, 2 hits that you could basically soak. At 3 points, it's not going to be as much. The other thing, the national-based game, you could fix your armor almost instantaneously, which we are not doing. You have to actually get a smith to fix your armor. So once your armor points wear out, you can get this little bit of healing every so often, and it might be enough to save somebody's life here or there, but people are going to be able to attack over and whatnot. And I just think that the 1, 2, and 3 points, while they're going to be very effective, it's not going to be enough to, as we termed it in the national game, backpack someone so that they can basically ignore hits. We're going to see a lot less of that, which is kind of what I want. In Magic Combat category, we also have staff and thrown weapon. All the typical spellcasters in literature kind of weapons and whatnot you could expect. So that's all really you get in the magical combat section. Now, energy just gets you the fuel for magic. You actually have to have spells in your spell book. And every time you buy an energy point, you can take a spell from our generic list of spells in the rule book. So let's go ahead and get to that. Sorry, lots of scrolling. Scrolling. So we have a whole magic section. It details it. Gaining spells, like I said, whenever you buy energy with the CP, you gain a new spell from the spell list. You can add it, and it gets added on your character sheet. But characters can develop their own spells. Energy and preparing spells. You need to know, how much energy your spell costs. And the thing from the national game that I'm thinking of adding into the casting of a spell, you have to have a free hand. You have to have the spell phys rep in that hand. So currently we're going to be using the Dart Blaster ammo, the rival rounds, rather than packets like I had previously used. They're a lot smaller. They're a lot easier to transport. They don't get as moldy as the old birdseed packets, and they aren't restricted as much as the old birdseed packets. They don't fly as far, but they do fly fairly well thrown. And basically, you have to have an open hand. You have to throw the spell after you use your incant, which we're going to let people, at least for the beginning, to make their own incants. I'm thinking they're going to have to be 5 words or more, and it has to have the spell effect at the very end. And once you use that, the thought is that the national game, we had components. They were popsicle sticks generally, and you had to snap them or rip them in order to use the actual effect. I really like the thought process of having the popsicle sticks. Here comes the boom. Yep. I really like the idea of either the game supplying the popsicle sticks, and every time you recharge your magical energy, you have to go back to logistics to get more of them. I kind of like that thought. Some people don't. I'm basically going to look at the playtest and see what people think in regards to that. But I really like the visceral snapping of a component. to show that a spell is being cast. And then you have to, of course, throw the spell energy at your target. And if it hits them, the only call that negates it is a resist call. And there's only one effect that can resist magic currently. There are certain lineages that have resistances versus certain types of magic and certain types of effects. And those could work on spells. I'm going to sneeze. Pardon me. Normally it comes in 3s, but it came in 2s. Maybe another one will show up. But yeah, so basically you throw the spell. If something calls a resist, then the spell doesn't work, but otherwise the spell has to take effect. And all of the spells will be based off of the conditions that are listed in the book. So then if you want to cast more spells, you have to have enough energy to do so. And to get energy back, there are specific things that you should do. It is very similar to our stamina rules. Basically, you get stamina points back for every half hour that you rest or you sit down and eat or take a nap. Any self-care stuff that you should actually be doing at LARP rather than running yourself ragged. 30 minutes of doing that will restore your stamina. Or if you want to get energy, spell points back, you need to do something very similar. Studying, reading, napping, any of those kind of things. We don't restrict what you have to do. It might be different for your character. It might be different for your character's culture. We're not restricting any of that kind of stuff. Whatever works for your character is generally cool. And basically, what we want to do is there is going to be ways to affect that. Maybe you get a talisman that helps you restore energy faster. Maybe you have magical concoctions that whenever you drink it, you get energy back faster. I want people to make up their own cool stuff, crafting wise, on ways to do this. So I'm not going to give too many examples, but there's going to be ways to change the duration, change how many energy points you get back over time. Maybe there's ways to get bonus energy over top of your normal amount. But I like the idea of the components. I like the idea of snapping something. And that's brought about, I think, a cool change for the crafting set, but we'll wait until we get to crafting on there. So here's our basic spell list. It's very small because I want people to make their own cool, dope spells. But yeah, so we have Berserk, Charm. Oh, that's the other thing. If the spell that you learn causes an effect, you can also use that same spell to remove an effect. So if you have prepared the Berserk spell, you have also prepared the remove Berserk spell. Cost the same energy cost, everything like that. So you don't need specific counter spells to things. So we have Berserk, makes people go crazy and stab the closest target to them. Unless you are an animal person, you can change how the Berserk effect works on you, which I think is really dope. Charm and remove charm. Somebody's your friend. You don't want them hurt. I think I've clarified the charm spell a lot better than the national game did. But we will see if that is the case or not. Animal people are cool. They get claws. Claws are fun. Anyway, so elves have resistance or immunity to charm, depending on what they buy. Elemental bolt, you get to choose one of the 4 elements: fire, ice, lightning, stone, earth. I can't remember what I called it. It is earlier in the document. Yeah, basically you get to choose which one you cast. Every energy that you put into it does 5 damage. So you could have a big boom, you could have a little boom, you could do that however you want. And it all depends on the amount of energy that you have. Entangle and remove entangle. We have 3 different types. Entangle foot is 1 point. Entangle arms is 2 points. And entangle body is 4 points. The national game had like 2 or 3 different ways that basically restricted your movement. And they all used different names for the spells, but they all almost did the same thing. So we just have entangle foot, entangle arms, entangle body, done. No imprison, no paralyze, no anything like that. Healing and harming touch. This spell causes the target to heal or harm 5 damage per energy point. So this is your big healing real quick spell, or your real harming spell. I think it's cool. Harming, of course, will heal undead, and healing, of course, will heal anything that is living. We have Hex and Remove Hex. Gains the Hexed condition, which I believe takes double damage, which is poop. We have Natural Weapon. You cast a spell, you gain a claw. You can use it like claws for animal people. So yeah, if you really want to be a spellcaster that is more of a, and I know some people take offense to this term, and I apologize in advance, but a ranger or druid that gains like claw attacks, you could always do that. You could take just a couple energy points to use claws whenever you want, and then boost your claw / brawler proficiencies. So you are a natural weapon fighter, which I think is cool. So you don't have to be an animal person, but it's cheaper and easier to do as an animal person. Shatter causes the broken condition on items. If the target is a basic build item, it is fully destroyed. Otherwise, it is just broken and it can be repaired. That also works on limbs. So we don't have a separate like wither limb type spell. Silence and remove silence. Kind of self-explanatory. Sleep and remove sleep. Elves are may purchase resist sleep and immunity to sleep. So that's cool. Slow and remove slow. Slow makes sense. You can't run. And weakness, you deal less damage with your weapon attacks. Hold on, got to grab another bite. Okay. So those are all the basic spells. They're very basic. Notice we don't have any levels for spells. We don't have any spell slots. We don't have any of that kind of stuff. You have energy. You use it to cast spells. If you run out of it, you can't cast any spells other than your specialization if you have it. And if you you can do different things to get your spell energy back. So this might limit how many spells people can cast throughout the day. We might find that these amounts are too low, and we might have to give people energy at a discounted rate or something like that. But I think the playtest is going to show how at least basic fights will work in regards to it. And I think that'll be fun. And I think it's enough spells that, combat will be varied for sure. So yeah, let's go ahead on down to crafting, science, and technology. So before I had said enchanting. Enchanting has the craft its craft effect is each of the crafts have items they can make and then like a special thing it can do. So for example, if you take the forging skill, you can make weapons and armor. Makes sense. Super basic. But its craft effect is it can repair items. It can repair any tagged item that has a phys rep. And if it has whatever way gained the broken condition, it can make it usable again. But whenever it repairs an item, it takes off a tick of the durability of the item. Once that durability is gone, it either has to be refurbished. There's a skill that allows you to add more durability to it. Or you can just make a new weapon out of the husk of the old one for a discounted cost. But anyway, enchanting's special crafting ability is called a Rune of Protection. It's going to be a wearable item. We're not sure if we're going to supply them or put them for sale, or we're going to craft them and allow people to craft their own. Basically, I want it to be a small wooden talisman, has a symbol on it, has a particular rune, and whenever you're wearing it, the first spell that hits a character wearing the Rune of Protection is negated with the call of resist. This resist must be used regardless of the spell being thrown. Notice keyword there, thrown. A spell that is cast via touch does not trigger this resist. It's worded specifically in there. It is not something that the wearer can choose to let spells through or not let through. So if somebody's dead on the ground and somebody throws a spell to heal someone on the ground, they have to call the resist. They can't just let it through, that kind of thing. It is a dummy protective, but touch casting bypasses it. Now, on here we have currently two. No, never mind. We have one. We have one scroll. These are all basic build items. And what that means is the enchanter can make these items. They aren't tagged. They're listed on your character sheet. And once they're used, they're gone. If you don't use them by the end of the event, they're gone. But you turn in one resource and you get 5 of these things. Healing potion. You need a physical potion bottle. And somebody that drinks the potion takes 5 points of healing. A hardiness potion. If they drink the potion, they gain 5 additional body points. They're instantly lost before your costuming body points and your normal body points go. It's basically like a bless spell from the national game. Enchanted armor scroll. With the changeover from the adding on the spell component, basically it's a material component to the spell casting rules. We are highly considering, instead of having armor scrolls, using the popsicle sticks as essentially one-time use wands, because that wording works better than scroll. And so all of our wands will be colored tongue depressor popsicle sticks, and they will have a specific spell incant on them and the specific spell. And that essentially acts as a one-use ever use of a magical effect. You have to read the incant specifically off of the wand, and you have to snap it to activate it. So instead of this being an enchanted armor scroll, it would become an enchanted armor wand. It is, you still have to have the spell ammunition, but it gives 5 enchanted armor, which is 5 additional armor points over whatever you're physically wearing and can wear. And those are lost first. So the thought process is that if you want to make the equivalent of a scroll from the national base game or like D&D or whatnot, instead we're going to have these colored popsicle sticks that are single-use wands. They're going to have the spell incant. They're going to be treated as if it has the spell energy already in it. So whenever you snap it, you are actually consuming the spell energy inside, and you can cast the spell. We're thinking of just letting anybody use them because it already has the spell energy in it. And as long as you follow all the other rules for spell casting, so you have to have a free hand, you have to have the spell ammo, and you have to snap the thing. I think it's kind of cool. It gives spellcasters a way to have more spells available for them whenever they run out of energy. It gives the fighters ways to have spells on them. But one of the core principles of Crestfallen as a game is that it's frontier fantasy. So the players are going to have to develop their technology and their magic and what they can do almost as a community rather than just as a group or a person. So I'm not putting any crafted items out into the game world other than through the guilds, and they're going to be very, very limited. But the guilds are also going to bring in resources from players and stockpile them so they can sell them or distribute them as necessary for other events. So I'm not necessarily going to put out a merchant to sell anything in particular. So if you need something for your character to work, either you need to have somebody that can make said stuff, or you have to have another player make you the stuff. Whenever it comes to basic build items, like, okay, I work for an epoxy floor company and I've developed an allergic reaction to our product after a year. Okay. I'm sorry to hear that. That definitely is not good. That definitely isn't fun at all. I'm sorry to hear that. Is that from a specific thing that is part of the product that the company made? Is it from a particular chemical, or just interested? What in regards to that, is this just a random comment, or is this leading into another question or comment? Just wondering. Not trying to be rude or anything, but because I know epoxy is mixing a lot of different chemicals and whatnot, so it makes sense that, having an allergic reaction to it would cause some issues. And sorry to hear about it. But anyway, in regards to all of the wands and whatnot, I think that's a good changeover that is probably going to be useful. But we'll have to see. I definitely am going to want to know from from the playtest portion whether that, is a good changeover or not. But I think that's going to work pretty good. Other than that, let me see. Let me check my Facebook real quick. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. That's rough. Yeah, we at my work we use a couple different chemicals, and we use a chlorinated cleanser / degreaser, and it causes some problems for sure. Mainly like itching and irritation like that. But if I was allergic to it, that would be horrible. I'm sorry to hear that. Definitely sorry to hear that. Patches on the back of the hands, whole arms. Ugh. No good. Sorry about that. Oh, it's all good, man. No worries at all. No worries at all. Definitely get checked out, because that's the most important. Yeah, I mean, that really sucks though. Do you have some kind of alternate work that you can bounce onto, or is the reactions causing more issues? For the most part, the rules document is done. We sat down. Yeah, definitely. For the most part, the rules document is done. Yesterday, Nay, Sherry, and I sat down and discussed it. Well, yeah, I hope you'll be fine, but still, you got to get checked out, and you got to make sure you're going to be okay. And I mean, you're going to have to find something to do in the interim. But I'm really sorry to hear that. I mean, epoxy is really bad, so I'm not at all surprised by it, but definitely got to watch out. Okay, good. I'm glad you're on top of it. Yeah, not a problem. No, I definitely, I don't want to see anybody hurt from that kind of stuff. You might need to look into workers' comp stuff and whatnot like that too. I know they'll fight you on it probably, which sucks. But if there's anything from the rule stuff that you want me to talk about, feel free, jump on in and ask any questions. I didn't make those changes that that we talked about previously from the things that were noticed. But definitely, if there's anything you want to go over, feel free, hit me up, say something in chat, or if you have any questions on what I'm going over, feel free, jump on in. Okay. That's pretty much the only changes to the magic system. I definitely think that the component-based stuff is going to work out and be really cool. I think the one thing is a cool changeover. We'll leave scrolls and all that other kind of stuff to the crafty people that want to craft cool stuff, because I want people to make cool stuff. But those will be the only real changes. We had a debate, and I'd love to get people's thoughts on it. In the rules, I have it that you get your energy, your spell energy back by resting or doing, however your magic user, whatever you call them, however they study or meditate or whatever. Given the fact of giving people the tongue depressors or popsicle sticks or components or whatever you want to call them to fuel that they have to snap for the points. Part of me wants to have it so you have to come to the logistics / ops section to pick them up, and we supply them and we put marks on each one so we can track. That's a lot of tracking. And we're a honor-based system, and I want to make sure that nobody's cheating. I had one person suggest, well, no, let people supply their own, but they can only carry as many on them as they have energy points. That kind of makes sense. But then we can't track it, and if somebody decides they want to cheat, it's harder to follow. But that means that you have to do that trek back and forth to logistics. I'm not sure which way we want to go. So I think for the play test, we're going to debate that and discuss, what would make the most sense. But if anybody out there has any opinions, I would love to hear it. Do you think that we should supply the energy fizz reps, and that's a good way to make sure that people don't cheat? Or do you think that the players should be able to supply their own, so whenever they regenerate them, they don't have to wait? I'm on the fence on it, so I would love opinion. Okay. That was the magic stuff. Let's talk about the module systems. Modules. Modules are the bread and butter of some games and the bane of existence for other games. I should change that wording. Bane of existence for some LARPs and bread and butter for other LARPs. I think that our system is going to be good because of the 4 different ways that we're going to go about scheduling modules. Basically, the current plan is this. Friday night will be 1 to 3 planned modules. Game always starts way too late. I would like to get into the habit of starting earlier, but that all depends on what, when people arrive. Okay, so we have a comment. I think there should be a variety of fizz reps for particular types of builds. Well, that's the thing. Like, I'm strictly color coded. Well, that's the thing. Like, I want the spell energy to be all one. I want those to be like plain without any necessary color. Whenever we get into the wands and stuff, I want those to be color coded. The real question is, do we make people, whenever they regenerate them, have to go to a place to get it? Or is that cheesy? Because what if you regenerated your spell energy and you have to go someplace to pick up the physical item for it, and then you get attacked and you wanted to cast a spell and it would have saved your life? I don't know. We shall see. Whenever it comes to fizz reps for other stuff, then yeah, definitely it's going to vary and be color based and whatnot. But the spell energy is all one type, so it doesn't need to have any specializations. The wands are what would be color coded and whatnot. But I appreciate the feedback and any thoughts on it. Okay, so modules. We're doing 4 types of what if you had to do both depending on your base level and a specific skill? Well, there are no levels and skills. So you wouldn't necessarily need anything like that. Basically you just buy energy points with your character points. And basically you can use them for whatever spells you have in your spell book, which is listed on your character sheet. Basically we have 2 schools of thought on it. Sherry's thought process, and I understand from the logistics point of view, is you have to go and do your role play to gain your energy points back. Okay. Yeah, go ahead. Oh, okay. So whenever it comes down to it, Sherry's thought process is that The players will do their role play wherever they're going to do their role play, and then they have to come back to the logistics area and show us that they did the role play as marked on the back of their character sheets. And then we give them that many number of energy points in components back to them. Okay, cool. And then after we as plot give those to them, then they can spend them however they want to spend them. John had said, well, that's kind of lame, because if you go and you do the role play, you should be able to have the things right away. So why don't you let the players do it however they want? If they want to supply their own popsicle sticks and like have a bunch in their kit and only carry as many popsicle sticks as they have energy points on their character sheet, then they can do their own regeneration and whatnot and use their own. And that way, if they get attacked, they can use them right away, or they could go. Yes. And that's exactly the point. Sherry's thought process is it is better for us to supply them, then people will be less likely to cheat or less likely to assume that other people are cheating. We're based off an honor-based system, and we don't want to assume that players are going to cheat. So I kind of like the idea of letting players supply their own. But to reduce the drama factor, I understand where Sherry's coming from. So, yeah, no, I'm not arguing it either way. I'm saying I am on the fence about it, and that's why I like the idea of using them, because I like that physical snap of a component to say I did a thing. Yeah, that's exactly where I'm at. So I think this is a prime example of ways that we can show. Well, no. Hear me out. I think this is a prime example of a way that we as a game can show that we want to listen to the players and the feedback and everything. So I kind of want to leave it to a player vote, because if we leave it to a player vote, then it shows that the players have a say in what is going on in the game and how it functions, until such point that there are problems or issues. So if the players overall feel they would rather have the game supply it, so they don't have to pay for the actual physical sticks, but they are hindered in a way, then that's the player's choice. That's the community's choice overall. And it's not me as the guy writing the rules enforcing my will on the people. Yeah. No, I agree. Well, it's one of those things we could vote on it every year and until we see, how it goes. Because if we have a very honest and trustworthy player base that is very close knit and very understanding, then we can probably let players supply their own stuff and nobody's going to call anybody else out on cheating, and it'll be good. But if we don't build up that close-knit community, then it might be better to watch out for people. So I could go either way on it. And yeah, I think you're in the same boat as me. So yeah, I think that's a good thing to have the players kind of have their 2 cents on it. So yep, that's all the magic stuff. Okay, back to modules. So we're having 4 different types of modules. I've gone over this previously, but I wanted to go over it again because we were going over it at the staff meeting yesterday. No. Trust me, my brain does that all the time, so I understand completely. So we're going to have 4 different module types. And the nice part about this system is that the modules are all going to be spread out amongst the staff members, so I don't have to worry about everything, and people aren't constantly bugging me for all the info, which is great. But okay, so the first module set are the ones that are in the guilds and governments folders. We have 6 different lineages. We have 4 different guilds. That means we have 10 different folders. Starting off, each of those guilds will have 2 modules every event, making a total of 20 modules to be run between Friday and Saturday. Those 20 modules will all have their own set time, and they will have set signups on the actual folders on the insides, and so I can timeline out all of those modules. It's ambitious if I assume that every module is going to be run. I don't believe it's going to. I believe you're going to have certain lineages that don't have a lot of players. I don't think we're going to have a lot of orc players. I might be pleasantly surprised. I don't think we're going to have a lot of animal people players. But I will hopefully be pleasantly surprised. Yeah. So what I can do, that means there's 20 modules that I have to write, 2 for each of the guilds and lineages and whatnot. And I can timeline those out. So even if I have one happening, every hour, but no, if I can have 20 modules, that means I can prioritize the ones that actually have people signed up and worry about those. And if nobody signs up for certain ones, then those ones don't get run and they get saved for the next time. So those are 2 less modules I have to write for the following event. So that's 20 modules right there. I used to write on the whole 60 modules for each national-based game event that I ran. We would never run them all, but I would have them written just in case. So that's module type 1, these guilds and government mods. Module type 2 are cards in the woods. Yeah. I'm fine with running smaller mods. That doesn't bother me. Smaller mods run quicker, and not all mods are combat mods. Some are roleplay, some are puzzles, some are all that kind of stuff. I'm going to have a wide variety of stuff because I don't want to just make mods just for combat monsters. I want there to be mods for different types of players. The second type of mods are going to be cards in the woods. I'm planning on having 10 of those every event. Minimum. Yeah. I want to have 10 of those modules per event. These, likewise, not all of them will be combat-based. Some might be roleplay. Some might be puzzles. Some might be you just found a cool thing in the woods. Lucky you. Those 10 will be written out. Are mods reduced to invited players? No. So the mods in the guilds and governments folders, you can only access those folders if you are of the appropriate lineage or of the appropriate guild. Oh, if another player snuck up on a higher level situation. It all depends. Like, if I'm running a, quote, closed mod, like somebody went through a portal and another player snuck up because they were hanging out in the woods at the same place, then yeah, I'm not going to let you do that. But I don't plan on having anything like level restricted We don't have levels. So, no, if you're a 60 character point character, brand new to the game, yeah, no, I don't like that. Like, being told to go away under certain circumstances makes sense. If somebody walked through a portal, a bunch of people walked through a portal and then it closed behind them, and you happen upon the mod, I would tell you to go away in that instance, but I would try to explain it in a nice and calm, rational fashion, depending on who I was interacting with. I can't say I'm calm and rational at all times, but yeah, no, if there's legitimate reason why your character would be there, I wouldn't tell you to go away. Yeah. Yeah. It all depends on the mod and how it's set up and whatnot. I've run mods that have been I've run modules that have gone both ways in regards to it. I don't plan on writing any particular. Yeah. Fireplane's horrible. Very burny. I think that third sneeze is coming. 30 and 4th. Apparently I'm doing 2s now. Anyway. Yeah, no. I'm not planning on singling anybody out. If there's a good reason why your character shouldn't be there, then yes, I will kindly ask you to leave. But if not, you're more than welcome to join in mods. I'm not going to restrict them by level or lineage or anything like that. Other than the actual lineage-based modules. But let's say, you know, there's only one half-orc, or sorry, there's only one orc in town, and they're supposed to go on this module for their lineage thing. Maybe they'll ask a couple friends to go. I'm cool with that. Yeah, no worries. No worries at all. Trust me, I understand the sneakiness, sir. Okay. So yeah, guilds and governments, that's one type of module. Cards in the Woods, second type of module. The cards in the woods are totally randomized. Like, I don't care who happens upon them. It might change the danger factor of it, but whoever gets the card gets the card. There, done. It might be weekend plot. It might not be weekend plot. It's all good. Module type 3. All of the secondary monster groups. Basically, the way I want to run events is if I am the story lead, I am in charge of the big monster group for the weekend. It is either going to be one of the 3 core monster groups that we got. The gnolls that are pictured there, the goblins, or the undead. Each of those groups has its own fighting style that is very particular to it. All 3 of them have magic users of some sort, but are very limited. But the story for the weekend is going to revolve around one of those 3 groups. I will generally be in charge of that story group. So I will have targeted mods mainly for the entirety of the player base. I am planning to have 3 set story-based modules every event. It is whatever goal that particular group is working towards, and the players preventing it in some way, shape, or form, whether they are proactive or reactive to what is going on. 3 modules, very basic storytelling, a beginning, a middle, and an end, so you guys can interact with it and feel like you have completed a goal for the town or failed miserably for the town. The way that the modules are going to be written is that there are varying levels of success and failure for it. The town might get some benefits out of a success, and they might get hindered for a failure. Perhaps the NPC group that I am running that weekend gets stronger in some way. For example, they might have stuff added to their character sheets. All kinds of options in regards to it. So we will see how that goes. But like I said, that's probably going to be at least three modules per event. So right now we got 20 for the guilds and governments, 10 for the cards in the woods, 3 for the main plot. And what do we have left? We have the other 2 monster groups. Now, these are not standard modules that these monster groups are doing. Basically, each of the other 2 monster groups have a marshal that's in charge of them. And all of the people that are doing NPC shifts, who are volunteering to do shifts, will get sent with these 2 people. And they will be made up as one of the alternate monster groups. So that way there is no way for the people that are PCing to find out what the main plot of the weekend is, because they're with one of these 2 groups. And the 2 monster groups are going to have 5 total quests that they are trying to accomplish. It might be something as simple as to acquire a particular item from the town. Might be killing a particular PC for some reason that they've been singled out for. It's going to be story based. It's not going to be like just me picking on a person, because that's not cool. Maybe the head of a guild or a guild master or things like that. Perhaps it is, eating body parts off of 5 different characters or things like that. If the monster group completes all 5 of their missions, then their NPC faction gets something cool added to their monster character sheet. So this gives the NPCs the incentive to try to accomplish their tasks, and makes it feel more like they have goals rather than they are just mindless bags of hit points for the players to go and combat. Yeah, I think it's going to be cool. For example, the gnolls in particular, because they're gnolls, they chew on people. So they might break people's limbs by gnawing on them, and they might gain more power for doing that. The undead are not typical undead to... Yeah. Oh, yeah, definitely. The undead are specifically... they haven't been in the game world for a... Oh, hold on. I need to reset the music. The undead in the game world are not your typical mindless, stupid undead. They actually fight with some tactics. They actually have some innate skill to them. And not only that, they've been missing from the world for years until the big event happened that I had the art made for, which I made as the top of the Facebook group for the new Crestfallen Facebook page. All the portals opened up across the world, and a bunch of people fell out of them. And basically these undead can sense, for whatever reason, magical energy and search for magical items and characters that have a bunch of magic on their aura for particular reasons that the world does not know yet. So the undead are very, very methodical and not necessarily super dumb like they are in many games. And then the goblins are just very much more the typical goblin type. They're sadistic. They're evil. They don't necessarily want to kill people, but they want to take their stuff. So they might search people for money or resources. They won't take magic items. They won't take anything big like that. But they might take your money and your resources because they want it to go and do their own things with. But yeah, so basically what we're going to do is we're going to have 33 standard typical modules planned out for the weekend. And then we're going to have 10 other goals for these other groups to be doing constantly throughout the course of the event. That's fair. But yeah, so we basically have 3 separate plot teams all running at the same time. We have Monster Group 1, Monster Group 2, then we have the main plot runner, which is going to be me for the most part starting out. And then we have Sherry, who is my contact inside the tavern / saloon / whatever we call it, that is in charge of facilitating with the players the building of items, the organization of items, the charts for the modules. And then her coordinating with me keeps the event moving and running, and should be a really solid game plan for a very small run LARP. I'm going to, sorry, there's one more module type that I have planned, and that's if people are bored, they can roll a percentile die, and I'm going to have 100 random modules all written out in a binder, and whatever they roll is the module that they get. Because here's the thing, everybody plays differently at a LARP. There are some people that go out and try to actively find everything to get involved in. And if you're a member of a lineage, so the cards in the woods are great for them. The modules that are for the entirety of the town are great for them. And going out and finding the monsters roaming the woods is great for them. If you're the laid back, waiting for stuff to come to you, yeah. So yeah, if you're the more hang out and wait and see what happens, there are the guilds and the government's modules that you already know what times they all hit. So if you're a member of those groups, you can already pick those up, and you can always come to plot and try to ask for a mod if you're ultimately so bored that you have found nothing. Ultimately, as the game grows and as things kind of change, the number of modules will have to go up or down. I might have to pull one of the monster groups back to run a couple mods here and there. But overall, I think it's a pretty solid plan. I mean, not trying to be rude, but I never saw 33 mods go off at certain games. Like, I've never seen some games get that many mods. Many have. But it all depends on how people are feeling towards NPCing for you as well. But I think it's a solid plan module wise. It's a lot of writing for me to do in the first place, but once the system's up and running, like lots of the guild modules are going to be very, very similar. It's go gather this thing, because guilds don't care about necessarily fighting stuff. They just want to make money. But it's also a good way to show people how to craft new things. Maybe the guilds, if players don't figure out how to craft different items, maybe I will have modules that make new items to show people how to do it, and then hopefully get people interested. Time to work on the gathering charts. If anybody has any questions on the mods or anything like that, feel free, jump in the chat, ask away. I accidentally overdid that. Okay. But I'm moving on to the gathering charts. I want to come up with names for the danger levels. I don't like having them just numbered, but for right now, numbers are okay. So, like I said at the beginning of the stream, that's all good. So on the gathering chart and the surgery chart, the danger levels are going to be based, like I had said, on these 4 logos. This would be danger level 1. This would be danger level 2. This would be danger level 3. And this would be danger level 4. That way players know beforehand if it's going to be an event that I plan on being super deadly or not very deadly. So if they are not into certain aspects, then they don't have to show up for it. But we shall see. Okay. So this was my thoughts. So on the gathering chart, we have a few options. The low roll is always going to be something bad. And that comes down to a fine. Basically, on a gathering roll that is super low, depending on the danger level, you happen into a particular lineage's area that they claim. And while you have found something, normally it is one basic resource, you might have to pay a fine in order to keep it. If you don't want to pay the fine, you can give the item back. If you don't want to do either of those, you can turn it in, and then the lineage might put out a bounty on you through the Thieves Guild. So, unlike DL, where you break a leg or something bad happens to you, this is a variable something bad happens to you. Like, you can decide how extreme you want to take it. Which I kind of like, because you never want to go out and be pretending to do something for 30 minutes and then get nothing, because that sucks. Next, where is my folder? We're going to look at the resource cards. We'll get into that. The gathering is basically going to happen however you as a character feel like your character would gather resources for their craft. Are you a forager? Do you go through the woods and pick mushrooms? Do you want to be a lumberjack and cut down trees? Do you want to be a miner? However you want to role play it, go for it. What would be fun for you? Because ultimately you want it to be A, fun for you, B, look cool. And if it's not doing those things, then what are you doing? I'm also going to have a couple stipulations in here too. During your role play, if instead of role playing, you actually do 30 minutes of cleaning up the campsite, like picking up spell ammo and firearm ammo, and like picking up rip tags and garbage and stuff like that, and you bring the garbage back and you show us the cleanup you did, maybe you'll get 2 rolls instead of 1. We're going to come up with all kinds of stuff like that, because I want to reward people for trying to keep the game area clean, so I don't have to clean it up at the end. Okay, so we have We have basic. Hello. Sorry, computer. Okay, so we have basic resources. We have common resources. Dang it. Whoa. Ugh. Okay. Okay, so let me pull up the pictures. Okay, I'm asking, is the event's laws dependent on where the event is located in game or on the main stories mod or both? Okay, so all the areas where the game takes place are going to be basically neutral territory. None of the specific lineages have any claim to that land, so everybody kind of is allowed to be there. Law is handled not by the particular lineages, because I don't want PCs involved in law and order. There is a specific lineage of creatures that are in charge of the laws. And that's going to be a topic for one of the videos because I want it to be abundantly clear. Everybody's going to have the list of the laws ahead of actual physical gameplay. Breaking the law against NPCs and other characters, your character can get away with. Oh, I'm sorry, baby bear's being a pickle. I'm sorry. Okay, so breaking the laws against NPCs, you can do fairly easily. And as long as none of the players kind of rat you out, you can do it. If you break a law against a PC, I want there to be an open understanding amongst the player base that it is totally okay for your character to believe that they did nothing wrong or to lie or things like that. But out of game, players need to realize if they break a law in game against another player, that they will get lawed. That there needs to be a meta, like there are reasons the laws are there on purpose, and it's to make sure that players have fun, and it is not to necessarily get at other players or stuff like that. So if you get caught, yeah, like, yes. Let's say, for example, that you don't like my character and you sneak up on me in the middle of the woods and you kill my character and it is dark and I didn't see you, both in and out of game. You get away with it. Totally cool. Like, that doesn't bug me one bit. But whenever people start griefing other characters, like killing a new player because they're a new player, or killing somebody because they think somebody's annoying, we need to nip that right away, because I don't want to have a toxic environment. Like, have an in-game story reason for it. So I don't want the game to turn into a whole bunch of PvP for no apparent reason. There should be story reason for it. And yeah. But there needs to be that understanding that if you break law in game, that yeah. But the fact of the matter is, like, if you break a law in game and somebody rats you out, or it was targeting another player and you murdered another player and whatnot, and they know it was you, they should be able to go to the law or the lineages. I don't want the Duke of this land to be chaotic good. I want all of the law people to be lawful good. And you know that if you go to them and you were wronged, it will be fixed. Because I want this to be like an ideal world where good is actively trying to do good things and not just be. But if I'm physically capable of sneaking up on someone and deliver rules, yes. It also depends on your reasoning. If you're able to sneak up on somebody out of game and deliver rules consequences, yes, I don't think that you should. There's no reason for you to be ostracized if there was a reason for it. There should be a plot reason. It shouldn't be as simple as I don't like this guy or I wanted this guy's stuff, because many groups and people have caused toxic environments just because they wanted stuff. There's much better ways to get stuff. If somebody's bragging about having all kinds of stuff and whatnot, that might be a different story. But at the end of the day, there needs to be that understanding that, like, the whole concept of the game is coming together as a community and surviving bad stuff, because bad stuff happens. If you're skimming some money off the top here and there, but if you're actively ruining somebody's fun, just like you being a new player and getting kicked off of a mod because you're not high level like the rest of the people, also not cool. Yeah. Yeah. There's nothing wrong with that. But it depends on some other stuff too. Just because you can do that to PCs doesn't mean you should do that to PCs, especially the new players. Or, you know, there's always the player that shows up to the game that's not super popular and, you know, might not have the best of friends. But we want to include them anyway, because we've all been that guy before. At least I think, for the most part. Okay. Let me find. Basic common. Rare. Okay, so charts. We have basic, components that work on everything. We have we have basic, we have common, and we have rare. The basic materials are used in everything. They should be the easiest to find. The common are for any particular crafting skill. So like this one is for enchanting. And then the rare are for either a specific enchanting, or there are basic rare components as well. So whenever it comes to the chart, okay. I did that the wrong way. So here are the items found. Here's the danger level, and these will be the percentages based off of this. So okay. We're going to say okay. Okay. If you have any other questions, feel free to ask away. Okay. So if I do dang it. Ba, 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 ba. No, what? Uh, 10 to Yep. I'm dumb. That's not how percentages work. Okay, 16 to 20. 21 to 25. 25 to 30. 30 to 40. Not 30 to 40. 31 to 40. 41 to 50. 51 to 60. 61 to 70. Okay. Oh, that's what I do. Insert. Nope. Okay. 81 to 90. 81 to 90. 91 to 100. Okay. I want to do that's what we'll do. Okay. So, at the least dangerous point, every 5% you get a chance to get a basic. Then after that, 10% jumps for commons. Then at 81 to 90%, you get 5 common and 5 basic. And at 91 to 100, you get 5 common and the okay. At 91 to 100, you have the 5 common and 5 basic, but the rare versions of the basic. And then on top of that, if you hit in the 98 to 100 percentile range, you also get 1 rare of whatever resource you're looking for. Every event that goes by that this isn't hit by a gatherer it increases by 2%. So 98, the next event would go down to 96. The next event would go down to 94. The next event would go down to 92. So every event that people go without finding a rare component, there's a higher percentage likelihood that you're going to find them, / there might be even more. This one is in addition to whatever you get for the rest of the chart. Okay, so whenever it gets a little more dangerous, we're going to say to 20, 21 to 30, 31 to 40, 41, 41 to 50, 61 to 70, 71 to 80, 81 to 90, 91 to 100. Let's just invert it instead. We'll go 61 to 65, 66 to 70, 71 to 75, 71 to 75. 76 to 80, 81 to 85, 86 to 90, and 95 to 100. Okay, so we just inverted that. 10% for the basics, 5% for the commons, and the other things. Okay. If we do a 5 per... yeah. 16 to 20. Let's start at the top. How do I want to do this? Basically, this increase in percentage is the possibility that these guys, that whatever lineage is guarding the area is watching it. Okay. Let's see. Let's do 16 to 20. 16 to 20. 25. Or 21 to 25. 26 to 30, 31 to 35, 36 to 40. $51. 6. What do you mean? I don't think I uploaded anything. Honestly, I don't have any idea. Why am I glitching? I haven't noticed any problems on my stream. Yeah, I just don't know what my number is or anything like that. I've never actively looked at it. Currently, according to YouTube, my stream health is healthy. Oh. Give me a second. I'm set for low latency. Yeah, sadly I can't check that during the stream. Yeah, I guess I could run one now. Why not? Yeah. My current upload says it is 23.39 megabytes. Which doesn't sound right, but yeah. I got a lot of windows open and other people are doing stuff on the internet here. So I apologize if that's the case. I'm trying to see right now. 56 and then 61 and then 66 and then 71 and then 76. That doesn't make any sense. We will go back to the 10% for the bottom ones. Okay, so it would be 16 to 26 or 20, 25. My brain. Ah, my tea is done. Okay. Let's see where we're at. Okay, so then this is going to go 26 to 35. Yes. Then it's going to go 36 to 45. And then 46 to 55. and 56 to 65, 66 to 70, 71 to 75, 76 to 80, 81 to 85. Okay, I'm sorry about that. 86 to 90, 91 to 95, 96 to 100. Okay, so this gives this a 20% chance of occurring. This gives it a 15%. This gives it a 10%. Okay. No, I like that. $21 to $30, $31 to $40, $41 to $50, $51 to $60, $61 to $65, no, $61 to $70, okay. Okay, so 100. Um, 91 to 94. Five. Sorry, it's a lot of plug and play on this stuff. Okay. Overall, I think this looks good. So you're looking at a net 20% chance that somebody is going to draw 5 commons and 5 basic components here. It's down to 15% here. It is down to 10% here. And it is 5% here. So, yeah, I think that's good so far. Ultimately, I think the list looks good. So on the lowest danger level, there's only a 5% chance that something bad's going to happen. There is a 5% chance in hops to get basic components. There is a 5% chance in hops, or sorry, a 10% chance to get common components. And then there is the 20% chance to get both 5 common and 5 basic, which is super cool. This might be a bit much, but I think it's cool. If we're going to have it on the varying structures, because you're looking at the percentage is highly in their favor for the the least damaging. The 50% goes still pretty good for the second tier. Still okay for the third tier. And it's only getting really hard to get stuff on the fourth. Yeah, I think it looks good. Because it's all percentile based. So it's all left to chance, but there's very little downside. Whenever you go out resource gathering, there is the percentage chances look pretty good to me. We might find that it's a little too in the player's favor right now, but I could always adjust it. Because there's two things we could do. Either we can remove these two sections completely, so it's just you get whatever you draw, and you don't have the chance to get both. I don't know. Okay. Yeah, I think it's pretty fair, because this chart's the... Yeah. I think the math works real nice. If, like I said, if worse comes to worse and we find that we're giving too many resources out, then we can reduce it. Yeah. The big problem was anytime we went to Dead Legends, I would go out and I would spend a half hour in the woods, and I would spend my time and my in-game resources, and I might come back with one item. I might come back with a broken leg that I have to pay money to get fixed that I didn't have. So I think this is a very fair chart. I think it gives a lot of resources that people can do stuff. Yes, absolutely. We can just change this chart rather than... And the other thing is we could always up the chart to the more difficult ones and then let people roll on an easier chart if they make an item that makes gathering easier for them. It all depends on what people want to make. Okay. So... surgery. This is the last chart I'm going to work on, and then I'm probably going to head to bed because I got work tomorrow. Okay. Yeah. Well, the way Dead Legends did it, you would draw a card from a deck of cards, and each card would mean something different. And almost all of them, you know, it determined what you got. So if you were a carpenter or if you were a logger like I was, there were only three items that you could really get on the chart. All good. You could get wood in varying quantities. You could get weird wood, which was like weird mystical wood. And then randomly, like you found gold in a tree, or, some farmer paid you money to not cut down his favorite tree, basically. Or you broke your leg. And so more often than not, you can get a good amount of stuff, but it just came to be kind of boring. This way, if the components are very generalized, you can RP it however you want, but then you can be more specific in what you use the things on. Okay, surgery. This is the complicated one. Let's pull up the document for surgery real quick. Okay, experimental surgery and regular surgery. The basic surgery skill allows a character to be healed of multiple conditions and damage very quickly, but with a risk. Experimental surgery is much more challenging and open-ended. Okay. Combat. Surgery. The skill allows a character to attempt surgery on a target. Basic surgery takes 20 minutes of role play, followed by a percentile roll on the appropriate surgery chart. If successful, basic surgery removes all negative conditions and heals all body parts, or all body points. Experimental surgery takes 30 minutes and functions similarly to crafting math. Okay. Did it have a cost? Dang it. Surgery costs 4. Okay. If it costs 4. Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's the whole thing. Healing magic is quick, but it is expensive and it is hard to use, so people don't use it often. Most of the time you want to go to a doctor. A doctor can heal you of all your hit points in like a minute with basic medicine. Here, let me find it. Medicine. So, medical training. It costs 1 stamina point. This skill allows a character to stabilize a dying character or creature, or heal an injured creature or character over time. While medical training is in effect, a dying character or creature may pause the counter for the dying condition. Every minute that the medical training is administered may grant a character 5 body. While this skill is maintained, no additional stamina cost is required. This skill may be used at the same time as medical training augmentation or mastery without additional cost. Medical training augmentation costs 1 stamina. The skill allows a character to inspect a character creature for different conditions. The character may spend 1 minute of role-playing and inspection, followed by the statement sense condition, at which point the target must state all conditions currently on the character/creature. Additionally, this skill allows a character to remove broken, dazed, sleeping, weakness conditions through non-magical means from a creature. A character must spend 5 minutes role-playing the removal of the condition, followed by the statement, remove condition name. This skill removes 1 condition at a time. However, multiple characters may remove conditions on the same target at the same time. And then training mastery. You can remove the bleed, poison, silenced, or slowed condition through non-magical means. It takes 10 minutes. The skill removes 1 condition at a time. However, multiple characters may remove conditions on the same target at the same time. Yeah. Yeah, you can use that to get rid of any of those conditions, even if they are uninjured, because they still have the condition on them. And you can do all of it at the same time. So while you're healing somebody for 5 minutes, you can be removing a condition for 5 minutes. Yeah. You can heal people 5 body every 5 minutes. And while you're healing them 5 body, you can also be removing their conditions. You can only remove 1 at a time while you're also healing them. But still, that's part of the reason why their medical training is cool. And it only costs 1 stamina, all the stuff you're doing. Or you can spend 4 points and do a surgery and remove everything after 20 minutes rather than spreading it all out. Okay. So the surgery has a percentage chance to fail or succeed. Okay. Oh, yeah. Yeah, the actual medicine skills, I think, are better than than using magic to heal. Okay, so okay, I need to make this so it fits. Well, hold on 1 second. For the play tests, I want people to make characters of 3 different character point totals. I will be right back. I want to get those numbers so I don't tell you the wrong thing. That way you can make a couple different character builds and see what you want to try out. I'll be right back. Get off my foot paper. Okay. Sorry about that. Okay. So for the play test, and I'm going to type this in chat here. Playtest CP test characters. $92, 124, and 156 character points. So those are the 3 CP totals we want people to make characters for the playtest. Basically, if we're running 4 events a year, and you can get max 8 character points per character for your primary character. That means after a year, you would be at 92 character points. 2 years, you'd be at 124. And 3 years, you'd be at 156. So just to kind of project what the power creep looks like with the system that I wrote. And we're going to do mock battles at all 3 of those power levels and see if they feel any different. And if they feel different, how different, so that whenever we start getting newer players that are brand new that have only 60 CP, how different do they feel? Are they going to feel underpowered? Are they going to feel useless or anything like that? So we can minimize that. Okay. You can have 2 characters, yes, but whenever you attend an event, you get 4 character points for the character you're playing. You can acquire 4 additional character points. You can, but here. So you get 4 character points for the character you're playing. You can acquire 4 more character points through donations, time, thing like that, for that same character. And then only 4 other character points for your secondary character. So even if you make 2 characters and you level one up, it's not going to be as powerful as whatever your primary is unless you go back and forth. And even then you're hamstringing yourself a little bit. The whole goal is to make sure that attendance is the key to leveling up a character. and not making it so people can just buy their characters and use money to be more powerful than other people. That's the goal anyway. So for surgery, if the surgery fails, the person dies. Yes, you can totally do that. And that's the thing. We don't want to let people have more than 2 characters, because that's a lot of logistical for work for us, and it allows people to build up multiple characters that have 0 chance of dying, but are super powerful. You can't have interactions between your 2 characters. Same as it was supposed to be for Nero. Like you can't have stuff for one character and give it to another character or anything like that. They shouldn't be part of the same group. They shouldn't necessarily interact with the same people unless your primary character dies or something like that. Ultimately, what I would do is, or what I would suggest is make just a ball of just make a character of character points and see what you can do with it. Or you can do 2. Yeah. Well, that's the way the rules always were. And then some people don't follow them. And whenever you can take character treasure with you instead of turning it in at the end of an event, it's real easy to go from one box to another box. It's real easy to play. Oh, I'm playing my brand new character and I got this magic item, but my other character wants it. So I just give it to one of my friends who then gives it to my other character, and it just gets messy. So yeah, they're not supposed to interact ever. Yeah. Yeah, that's why like all of our secondary characters, I always made my characters vastly different. So like Corbin was like neutral good, on the verge of, sometimes lawful good, sometimes chaotic good, but in general supposed to be a good dude. And Nantua, my hobbling necromancer alchemist, was just a horrible person. Yeah, all good. Fighting is a valid option. Food guy is where it's at. If you sell food, people will want to protect you, and yeah, it's a good time. It's definitely a good time. Yeah, that's the way to go. Okay. So I think for surgery, we'll do it this way. There is a straight up 5% chance you're going to die. We'll up it to 10%. We'll up it to 10% for the the highest one only. Because straight up dying, that's rough. Failure and you lose all stamina. We'll do another 5% here. We'll up it to 10% on the last two. Yes, yes. Okay. We'll make it 10% for the best thing. Oops. That would be 11 to 20 for that one. 91 to 100. We'll do this one 95 to 100. Is there an alchemist branch, or did you include that style of skill into the medical? Alchemy is a craft. Strangely enough, that I had that all open. So you can make basic build items. If you take alchemy, you spend one basic resource, and you can make 5 of these items. You can make a alchemical grenade, which does 5 damage. You can make a flashbang, which causes knockback. Tanglefoot bag, which causes entangle foot. Alcohol, which is a potion bottle. You can drink or grant another to a drink that grants the distracted effect. And then you can make weapon poison. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. Yeah. You can make a weapon poison that while a character is using whatever weapon you poisoned, they deal an additional point of damage with the weapon that lasts until the item is broken or destroyed. Yeah. So those are all the basic items you can use. Now, all these basic items, they go away at the end of the event. You don't get tags for them. They're just marked on your character sheet, and when you use them, you use them. Or if they're destroyed, they're destroyed. You can make tagged versions of those, but they cost more resources, and they take more time. But then you can also make your own alchemical stuff, but you have to tell me what you want to make. And all of the items follow these rules. No, there aren't more advanced versions of those effects unless you guys make them. You guys, it's up to the players to make all kinds of cool stuff. And I hesitate to start making lists, because what happens then is that I make a list of the stuff, and then it feels like I'm making all the stuff. I want you guys to make the stuff, because that makes you the cool people. Yeah, definitely. Now, depending on how powerful, like, the effect you want to do, it might be super expensive to do. It might cost your essence points. It might do all kinds of other things, but it all depends. But yeah. Yeah, you can make cool stuff. You can make traps. You can make buildings. You can make whatever you guys want to make. It's cool. Yep. It all depends. You can make better alcohol. You can make different alcohol. You can make poisons. You can make all kinds of crazy stuff. And it is only limited by your imagination and what we say can and can't work. And as long as all of the effects have to follow the list of effects in the game. So you can't make up like your own thing. If you wanted like an imprison style effect, then it has to use the entangle mechanic. Safety standards for weapons and armor. Where we would like to suggest latex or plastidip or hybrid weapons of either crafted or made quality. We're okay with buffers as long as they are made in safe standard rules, and all of the sizes for all the different weapons are actually in the weapon description sections. For the most part, as long as they aren't super ridiculous, they aren't super trapping, they aren't super huge. Yeah. I would just take a look at like Epic Armory and Kalamazoo and all their sites and get a rough idea on their sizes. Yeah. It's way less restrictive than the national base game stuff. But in other ways, it's more so. Like the shields are already listed in the lists and all that. There are no spell packets. Spell ammunition is, let me pull up the picture. Spell energy is based off of the like component thing. Instead of spell packets, if you have ever played Nerf Rival or anything of that nature, they are foam balls. They're all a standard size. They all have a standard feel. You can purchase them in whatever color you want. That doesn't really matter to us. I would suggest getting actual branded stuff. Don't buy any of the like cheap stuff off of Amazon. But if you get Nerf brand or what is the one? Dart zones are good. What is it? Adventure Force. Yeah, we're using those for spell packets. Yeah. Well, the thing is, if we have firearms, which are all using these too, because most of the firearms that I purchased are all rival for NPCs to use. Not that we're going to be using a lot of them to start off. But then it uses all the same ammunition and it's less stuff for me to carry around. Plus the foam doesn't mold and mildew. We definitely could. It's bad because I've bought some of those off-brand ones and they get chewed up by the blasters. Yeah, the insurance that's really the thing. The campsites, they don't want the birdseed packets because the squirrels are hoarding them and then they're finding rubber bands and all that other kind of stuff. So in a way to counteract that, that's why I wanted to go with the rival ammo rather than the other stuff. Oh yeah. Everybody's always complaining about something. Insurance wise, using Nerf blasters is perfectly fine. Have you ever seen the LARP arrows? Let me pull those up. A number of LARP games use actual legit bow and arrows, and their arrows, I am not cool with this. Like, that's an actual like normal arrow shaft, and fletching. And yeah, that's super cool. Like, it's not going to hit somebody in the eye. Yeah, Europe uses them a lot. But a lot of the other games that are coming in are using them now too. And I don't like it. And the insurances don't necessarily like it either. But I'm not a fan. It's not the fact about getting hit with that. It's the what if somebody tramples on one of the arrow shafts and you're in the middle of combat and like a shattered an arrow that was damaged basically lets shrapnel fly. Like, I don't want to see anybody impaled with an arrow for reals. So yeah, I'm not down. I am not down. But it is what it is. Some games are cool with it. I am not. Okay. I don't like this. I don't like this. I think I need a higher, I need this to 20. No, all good. Do I want a 20% chance of failure for... No. $15 maybe. I'm okay with 15. And 20 whenever it gets worse. And 25 when it gets real bad. Um, 16 to... That's a high percentage for success, though. I mean, they should, given the amount of time, it should be okay. $21. That's a 50% chance in success. Yeah. No, that's a 60%. 70, 60. Yeah. Okay, so okay. So doing a surgery has a 15% chance of failure with only a 5% chance of the character active, like dying. It goes up to a 20% chance of failure with still a 5% chance of dying at the second difficulty, and then at 10 to 25%. I think that's okay. $75. This might be too high, but I want people to risk it. If I don't make it this high, I think that people aren't going to even try to do it. because it costs. Well, okay. So hear me out. Doing surgery heals all hit points and cures all status effects. Like they all go away. It costs the surgeon 4 stamina points to do the surgery. On the best of days, it is a 5% chance of the character dying, a 10% chance of the surgery failing and the character losing all their stamina, but still being able to brought back to life. A 60% chance of just succeeding, with another 15% chance of succeeding and the character getting all of their stamina back, and another 10% chance of the character getting all that stuff, all their stamina back, and the surgeon getting their stamina coming back. Surgeons totally can stay in town, but they can also do that stuff in the field too. You don't want to, but it's good. You should take somebody with medical training. Oh yeah. You want to take a couple doctors / surgeons to the actual field, because if there's a fight with a lot of status effects, you might need them to remove the status effects to even get them off the field. Because if you don't have the magic to remove some of these effects, lots of the effects don't go away. So you could be entangled for a long time. You could be asleep for 10 minutes. You could be, yeah, fair, but it's possible, just not probable. No, I think these surgery rates look good. I like this. File, save as. This is going to be gathering / Hey, that works. Surgery is where it's at. I think it's cool. And then you can do like experimental surgeries that works very much like all the crafting things. So fair. No, you can do experimental surgeries so you can make, turn people into Frankenstein's monster, or, graft necrotic flesh to their bones, or give them vampire teeth, or, all kinds of weird, whatever you want to develop as a creepy, weird surgery thing. Yeah, totally could do it. It is a possibility. Well, I think that is going to do it for today. Yeah, pretty good stream. Had a couple people stop in. Nay stopped in, you stopped in, so I appreciate that. A couple others stopped in, checked it out. So super cool. I mean, you could. I mean, somebody could already be a dog girl. But, I mean, you could, I guess, I don't know. There are things you could do. There are definitely things you can do. Well, I'm going to head to bed. I'm going to put this chart into the document, and the rules for incants and the component thing. And once that is done, version 1.0 will be ready. Oh yeah, totally. They are totally welcome. As long as they aren't doing sexual things, because I don't want any sex or drugs or alcohol on site. Just because we're playing a game, and nobody should be forced to see other people doing stuff that they don't want to see. But other than that, you know, all good. All good. I'm going to head out. I'm probably going to try to stream on Friday unless something comes up. But yeah, with the staff meeting yesterday, I was feeling like getting some stuff done. Yeah, I mean, I guess, yeah. But you take it easy. I'm hoping you're feeling better. Please, please, please go to the doctor. Get that checked. Good night, everyone. Have a good night. I will see you on Friday, hopefully. And by then, hopefully, I will have a new list for what days I am streaming and what days I'm not. Other than that, thanks, y'all. Have a great evening. Bye-bye.